To Professor Johan Giesecke from Sweden, because you have taken a very different approach. I mean,
the UK started in the right direction, but then a famous paper from Imperial College came out and Boris Johnson made a U-turn. And now I think you're on the wrong track.
You think we're on the wrong track because we went to lockdown?
Yes.
Sweden has had, I mean, it's an interesting case, Sweden, because you haven't really had any form of lockdown. It's hard to assess yet whether that has been successful or not. But how are your figures comparing, for example, in infections and deaths to your immediate Scandinavian neighbours?
They're higher. But one very important thing, I think we should wait a year in comparing deaths in different countries, because the cases that have died in Sweden will be the ones similar to the ones who, when you open your lockdown, you'll have more deaths. And in the end, I think they will be about the same in each country.
So you think the problem with the lockdown is that eventually you have to unlock it?
Yeah. I mean, you postpone what's happening. If you did it for a very long time, so there was vaccine available, then you could probably keep the lockdown. But in a democratic Western country, you can't shut people up for 18 months. That's impossible. You can do it in China, but you can't do it in England or Sweden.
Do you think that you will have, there will be a different economic effect in Sweden as a result of not locking down?
We shouldn't exaggerate this thing with the legal lockdown and the soft lockdown. The result in practice is very similar, actually. Yes, I think that the Swedish economy will come out quite, it will be weakened, but not as weakened as in many other countries.
What I've been told, and you can clarify this, but I've been told that many Swedish people have actually taken it upon themselves to stay at home a lot more, almost having a kind of unofficial self-inflicted lockdown. Is that true?
That's true. The headline of the Swedish policy is people are not stupid. If you tell them what's good for them and what's good for the rest of the population, they follow your advice because they understand it. You don't need laws. You don't need police in the streets.
So in a sense, it's quite interesting that there's been much more trust given to the people. What's interesting here is, it's understood that the British government delayed any lockdown because they were worried British people wouldn't follow it. As it's turned out, actually, the British people have been extremely obedient. 90% in all the polls say they're happy to do this if it's for public health reasons. In Sweden, it hasn't been an order. It's just been, if you're sensible, we'll get through this.
Yeah, people are not stupid. One thing of the Swedish policy, which is that we'll reach herd immunity in Stockholm County, about a month from now or less. Mid-May, we'll have herd immunity.
Can I ask you one thing? Do you accept you could be completely wrong? Do you accept that actually there could be a lot of people in Sweden who are getting infected by not having a more draconian lockdown, and that you might suddenly be in a very bad position? Is that a possibility, that you might just be wrong?
Everything is a possibility, but it's highly unlikely.